Hey, do you know about that crazy sport of cliff diving? Well, 25 years ago, a group of diving enthusiasts decided to invite a load of people to watch them dive up this cliff. And into this small patch of water. Try Googling history of cliff diving, and you'll find a very romantic story that dates back nearly 250 years about the king of Maui who challenged his warriors to leap off cliffs into water to show him they were fearless. This is not that story. This is the story of how cliff diving got its big break right here in Switzerland. I know what you might be thinking. Switzerland? A landlocked country filled with big mountains and chocolate? But really? Cliff diving? But it was here in the Mäge Valley where a group of Swiss-German cliff divers decided to stage the first ever rebel cliff diving event and light a spark for a global series that has seen athletes jump from all sorts of crazy places. I myself have also been lucky enough to dive in some really incredible places. What I want to find out is why this location was chosen and who were the people who decided to make it all happen. After all, jumping from 30 meters into water is not something you decide every morning when you wake up. On this trip, I'm going to meet up with 3 generations of Swiss cliff divers. Frei is one of the OGs of the sport and has been competing for over 30 years. He also took part in the first ever rebel cliff diving event in Brontallo. I'm then heading down to meet Peter Ruedi at his secretive Peter's Dive location. Peter is a pioneer of the sport and still dives at nearly 80 years old. But first, I'm driving to meet my good friend Matthias Appenzeller. He's this big guy with long hair and all these tattoos. And
he's the young blood of the sport and the future of professional cliff diving in Switzerland. I can't wait to catch up with him and find out about his training for this year's Rebel event in Sisikon.
And I'm sure he'll have some insights into the history of Swiss cliff diving. So Matthias, how did you get started in cliff diving?
When I was a kid, I was watching you in Brontallo, but because I saw you doing this and having like these role models and also seeing people going from normal diving into high diving was kind of the normal next step for me as well in my career.
Yeah, like a new challenge. I like that. You know that people think that cliff divers are just a bunch of crazy guys that run and jump from cliffs and don't care about anything, but it is a lot of work behind it.
Yeah, it's crazy. As you just said, like you see these 1 or 2 seconds in the air, you see them performing at a competitions, really short period of time, mentally prepared, ready, but like you have all these off-season training the whole year in the gym, in the pool, mental practice, mental preparation, and it's all part of it to be ready these 2 seconds. So I think, yeah, it's crazy. It takes a lot more effort than you see.
It's like a full-time job, you know? Middle of September, we're gonna have our event in Sisikon here in Switzerland. What is your expectations for that event?
I mean, I started my Rebel cliff diving career 4 years here in this specific event location in Sisikon, and it was amazing. It was intense with the crowd, and I'm just happy to be back here and have this opportunity again to dive in front of my family, with my friends. There is like this specific energy which I never felt anywhere else, and I'm just happy that it's just happening another time. And I'm ready to like take a deep breath and like keep it forever. There's like a really nice community that is helping each other. We're like a family. It's just amazing how they help you, how you help them, and it's like more together than just competing against each other.
You know, the cool thing about cliff diving is that brings athletes from all kinds of different sports. You know, I'm driving right now to meet with Mäge Frei. He's one of the coolest guys. Big, tall, you know, strong Swiss guy. Really good friend in and out of the sport. Only really good memories of sharing good times with him. Actually, Peter Ruedi convinced him to join him in the diving shows in Zurich when they were trying to create their club. And he later, you know, became a key player in this Swiss cliff diving history.
For holidays, I was just looking for some cliffs to dive from. In my heart, I was always a cliff diver. I was a trampoline gymnast. I used to be a skydiver as well, so it's falling or diving or flying in the air is something which is in my genes, maybe, I don't know.
Very cool. I'm glad you were a big part of this cliff diving history in Switzerland and continue to be.
Yeah. I try to be part of the family.
If the weather helps, we manage to maybe do a couple of dives.
Sometimes, you never know.
I'm on my way to meet Peter. Back in the 70s, people thought he was crazy when he toured the country wowing crowds with his comedic diving show. 50 years later, he's considered a local legend and has inspired countless young divers to take the plunge.
You know, most people at Peter's age would have probably hanged their bathing suits and not dive anymore. Not for Peter. You know, he's still actively cliff diving, and I can't wait to join him and do some dives at Peter's dive.
It's a long time ago, last century, in the middle of the 70s, I was running a diving section in a swimming club. And so we planned to do our own diving club. So we thought maybe if we are doing shows from 15, maybe 20 meters and some comedy, maybe we can get some money. We had a good group together, 12 people, young women, young men, and we start with the shows at different locations in Switzerland. And that was a successful story, really.
People liked it, yeah.
And we could finance the club.
Okay.
That was the beginning here in Switzerland, definitely. Yeah.
It's interesting. My cliff diving history started in Switzerland.
I remember this, and it was so hard, I think, for you divers, because it looked so high, this 27 meters.
We have something in common.
Yeah, definitely. There is a story about, because one of our members in this show group...
He was doing the head-first dive.
Yeah.
He was still doing the head-first dive.
He was going head-first.
Yes, I remember.
Maybe he was the only one doing this,
yeah,
isn't
I think
it?
so. I think he was the only one doing the
it's quite dangerous.
Yeah. What's your feeling today about cliff diving? You know, what keeps you motivated still about the sport?
Personally, I'm motivated because it's a fair sport. You have the height, you have the water, the surface of the water, which can be quite hard. Maybe you have some fear, and to overcome the fear, because you know you can do it. That's courage.
Oh, so this is the secret.
That's secret.
That's the secret passage.
We put it like this. To do some dives, you must be fit. So I'm going to jog a little bit, making some gymnastic, why not?
Oh,
you remember, Orlando? You remember?
Hey, Orlando. How's it going? The famous Peter's dive. How did this happen?
That's a long time ago. 1971, I was here with my girlfriend sailing, and I saw that's a location for diving. We have now a platform at 1 meter, at 6 meters, 8 meters, 12 meters and a half, 17 meters, and here 21 meters.
21?
And far down at 24 meters.
I like how we divers see the world with different eyes. Most people will be looking around at the beautiful lake, and you're looking at a cliff saying, I can dive from there, I can dive from there.
That's true.
I think we should do some dives.
Yeah, definitely.
To honor...
Looking forward.
Honor the history.
Yeah.
Ready to dive, man. Let's go. The thing that really strikes you about him is the passion he has for cliff diving. You know, he really feels about it. He loves the sport, creating this training platforms, developing this area where you safely can perform your dives. I think that's probably the greatest contribution you can do to the sport. Make sure that you're going to help the new generations develop so that the sport can keep growing.
I like the adrenaline. If you are standing up there, you have some fear. I think sometimes, at least, you have some fear, but you know you can do it. You trained it. You're mentally strong, and then you are doing it.
Peter really paved the way for so many divers, not only here in Switzerland, in Europe, but all over the world. You know, the Red Bull cliff diving came along, created the World Series, an event that has brought diving to so many people. I hope you guys learned a little bit about the history of the sport that I love so much. You know, I'm really proud to be a small part of that history. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.